Hello, viewers. This is your Michael from Screen Review, bringing you my 701 podcast. This is my 701 podcast. Like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand me. Also, I try to do my best not to speak too hard during this audio podcast recording as well, not to cause any early feedback as well. And finally, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will attain to adult language. But again, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will attain to adult language if you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, no, I said again, if you're over 18, I need you to watch this audio podcast recording. Now, with this and everything else the way, let's get into the topic. Recently, recently, a lot of people have been wanting, a lot of Kamen Rider fans have been wondering about the latest Kamen Rider series that is currently going on. Gavv is, would this be the first would it be the first Kamen series of the Wary area to not feature a female rider? So basically, right now, Gavv it's at 33 episodes so far, and so far out of those 32, uh, out of those 33 episodes, there's has not been a solid balance point or pointing towards a female rider debuting in no time soon in this series. So basically, a lot of fans are wondering, when are we going to see a female Kamen Rider debut in this current Kamen Rider series in Gab or whatever. Now, Now there has been hints that usually ever since the way it started, the way a comrade started, we have been getting a solid comrade for each comrade in the way era. So up to 01, and now up to from 01 up to what's the name? What was the last? What was the last comment for Gab? But damn it, I forgot his name. Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha was the last one. So basically, from 01, the start of the Kamen Rider era in Rare to gotcha, we've been getting solid female Kamen Riders, featured ever since then. Basically, most of the time, the supporting female character ends up becoming the female writer of that series. So basically, Sashine, who is the female, or who is the recurring female or support character, who we see with Gab and the other writers, the good ones, has been, has it's kind of been hints that ever since he found out that Showa, who is Karen the Gab, is the Kamara, and Ballard is hot to Hento is Ballard, and about Bound and whatnot. So basically, it's kind of been hints that that Sashin might be the female rider ever since she found out about Showa and the other writers and whatnot. I believe that was around. Uh, at least she found out about Showa being Gabba on episode, I think 15, I believe, if I recall. If I recall. But anyway, ever since a new female character debuted, Liz, who is the president of the grant where the bad guys are from, basically, so as older siblings, the Stomach family, they won the Stomach Corporation that make those dark treats and whatnot to those dark agents to kidnap humans to make those dark snacks and whatnot. So basically, a lot of people are thinking that the president's daughter Liz might be the female writer of the Comrade series, of the series. Basically, a lot of people are like, want to see Sasheen become the female rider of Gab, but ever since Liv showed up, everybody thinking that she might be the female rider of the Kamen Riders here because she's on the bad guy side. But the top, but the main topic is we never really had. Kamen Rider has not really done having a good female rider and a bad female rider debut at the same time. So basically, that's the whole point of this podcast. Mm, so basically, let's try something new. Cause honestly, throughout the Kamen Rider series, we never really usually female riders always end up being evil or working for the bad guys. Usually it ends up working to the bad guys. Usually, back in those eras, back in those different eras of Kamen Rider and whatnot. So basically, most of the times, they be working for themselves and whatnot. So basically, we had not seen a. I like to see something happen when Sasheen becomes the good female rider, and Liz, who is the president of the, who is the daughter of the, who is the president of, who is the president daughter of Gratward becomes an evil rider. Because we never really get to see something like this happen in Kamen Rider. So basically, my point is that that Sashing, who's been the female support character in Gavv, becomes the good rider, and have Liz, who is a new character who should recently show up, who is part of the who is part of the antagonist group, comes, being the stomach family, becomes a evil rider, a evil female rider, and Gab, in Colorado Gab. So basically, what I'm trying to say, let's try something different here. So basically, we never really had a female, like, we didn't, like, yes, 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 Spice did have a evil female rider, kind of an female rider become a good female rider. But I'm saying, let's try to have let's debut a good female rider and a evil female con rider at the same time with Gab. So basically, like, I like to see Gab pull this off. So basically, but as of right now, we don't know if Shaseen or Liz is going to become a comrade in Gab right now. So basically, the kind of an instance that pointing that maybe one of them might become the female rider of Gab at some point, but we just don't know at this point in time. So basically, average Kamen Rider series is like 50 episodes. So basically, like, so far Gap is so far has aired 33 episodes. So basically, we still might have some time mm, for a female writer to show up, or if not, we can just or if not, they could show up in a special, or into a Kamen Gap special movie or a special episode or something like that, do etc. etc. But we just have to wait and see. So basically, we at the third quarter. We're at the third quarter of Gather already. We about to enter into the final part. Com, usually Kamen series and Kamen series and Sentai series, have four quarters. Like, are divided into like into five into four story arcs and whatnot that goes on that goes on. So basically, you got the first story arc, then you had the second story arc, then you had the third story arc, then you had the final story arc. So basically, right now we're in the third story arc of Gavv right now. So basically, we might have some time for a female rider, even to show up at the end of the first story arc of Gal, or maybe in the final, in the beginning of the final story arc of Gal. We just have to wait and see. So basically, my idea is that let's Mm. Let's let's debut a good female car rider and a bad female car rider at the same time and Gab. That's my whole point of this. Mm, of this of this topic of this podcast. So anyway, what do you guys think? Should Kamen Rider debut a good and female rider at the same time in Gab? Yes or no? Or I just nah? Please let me know with the comments. Love this podcast. Anyway, signing off from Screw Review 1.